Welcome back to another video everyone, my name's Elite and today we're going to be discussing how Renegades is going roughly a week in. Just my overall thoughts. We're going to start with discussing the story, then move on to gameplay, things I like, things I don't like, and where I see things heading in the future. If you do like this video, please sure to hit the subscribe button down below and the like, and leave a comment with what you're thinking about Renegades so far and how it's going for you. By the way, there are going to be spoilers, but the gameplay is just of the Lawless Frontier. It's not actually story gameplay. But with the story, it went about as much as I thought it would. It revolves around Dredge and Bale, who we knew was the new big villain, Premier Loom as well, who is the new Cabal big bad, I think. Something I wasn't really expecting was to have Six play such a big role in the story. I remember them saying that the Nine were going to be part of the story, but I didn't think it was going to be a major section. But he really is a big part of it, as well as going forward, it seems like individual Nine will be big players in each expansion. Now, the inevitable comparison of this is the Star Wars expansion has come, and I've got to say, it is very heavily inspired by Star Wars, but it still feels very Destiny. It's not over the top Star Wars, it's just enough to keep you engaged, and if you're a fan, you'll see the nods like in the first cutscene. There's a Cabal that bonks his head on the door, which is an obvious reference to episode 4. Additionally, the characters in this story are great. We have Dredge and Bale, obviously, great villain. He unfortunately kind of falls into the I'm Kylo Ren debate where he's just angsty teen. Mind you, and this is a spoiler, him becoming, or just being a normal guy is kind of cool. In the first cutscene, we see Dredge and Bale 1v1 a Praxic Warlock, who's meant to be like the master of this blade that he's stolen, and he 1v1s her as a normal guy with a quite adept mastery of stasis. I wish we saw more of him doing things in the campaign, but I also understand why we realistically don't. Another great thing that we see is Premier Loom. He is a very interesting character. He talks very slowly, which is kind of annoying at times because it's like it just breaks the pacing of how the conversation is going. But I think he's a very cool departure from our typical scream at you Cabal. He's much more like Gaul. He's pretty much a better version of Gaul. Now, I have a few downsides with the story, and I don't think they're with the actual story itself. It's more with the way the story is presented, in that there are a lot of quest steps where it's go talk to this person and then go 3 feet to talk to this person and then go back to that first person in a different area. It gets a bit tedious, and it's one of those things that people hated about the seasonal stories, where it was go from here in the Helm to here, now go talk to that person, but they're on Nessus now. And I thought that we were past this, but apparently not. Now, the other major issue that I had with the story is that they didn't put any of the cool shit that they talk about in the lore into the actual story. There's a lot of lore about Bale and the reason that he hates guardians and ghosts, and that is his mother died and was risen as a guardian, but she doesn't remember him, and he hugged her thinking that she was alive again, and she pushed him off. And he blames ghosts and the light for this. But that's in a lore book, not in the actual game. I wish that that was a conversation that he had with Lodi or with the Drifter, where we found out why he hates Guardians. Because that's something that we would need to know, and if you don't read the lore, you're not going to know that. Other than that, I don't really have too many complaints. There were a lot of reused situations, like in the final mission. You have the elevator rising up, which is basically the Scarlet Keep strike, which it's not the biggest deal breaker when it comes to gameplay. It's just a little bit boring in my opinion. Now, moving on to the gameplay section, I am enjoying playing Destiny a lot again. The new orders system isn't as bad as I thought it would be, and it makes accessing bounties a lot easier, and there's no back and forth. I think that they should be a little bit more rewarding on the bright dust side, because we have now reached a point where we can earn half the bright dust we were able to 5 years ago. In addition to that, this new order system kind of removes the need for someone like Shax. Like, there's no reason to go visit Shax outside of grabbing the competitive emblem now that I can think of. He doesn't have bounties for you. Same with Zavala, he doesn't have bounties. I don't know if the gunsmith has bounties anymore. I haven't visited him. So how, like, what's their point at this stage in the game? Okay, so this is Editor Elite here. I forgot to talk about the syndicates, so I'm just dropping it in here. So if it feels a little weird me talking about the syndicates, that's why. The 3 syndicates are cool gameplay options, but I'll be honest, they don't offer a lot outside of you get the abilities, you upgrade them to rank 5, and that's about it. I have seen that there's some sort of event going on with who you rally to based on your syndicate. I don't know much about that, so I'm not going to really comment. Syndicates are cool, but I wish that they were more involved, more like how the factions of D1 were involved. And if they do have this event go forward, I think it would be cool to see some sort of leaderboard and get some sort of reward for your faction winning, similar to Guardian games. As well as the new exotic weapon, the Praxic Blade, is really, really fun, and I like how they've made it very customizable to how you want to do it. I think that they need to expand it a little bit more going forward. You know, adding new stances, making the stances different animations would be really nice. I understand that they probably thought of that and didn't have time to implement it, or didn't want to focus on other things. It's just, it would have been a nice thing. As well as all of the new weapons are really, really great, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2. The new weapon type, the heat weapons, are really, really fun to play with. I just kind of wish that they were all either primary ammo or infinite ammo, with the heat meter replacing an ammo meter, and it just recharges slightly faster or slower, depending on how you use it. The other big gameplay element for this season is the new artifact, which is very heavily focused towards kinetic weapons and swords. So if you don't like swords and you're not using kinetic weapons, aka you're using a stasis or a strand weapon, you're shit out of luck. But I imagine a lot of people are using the new sword because it's a fucking lightsaber, and that's cool as shit. The last gameplay element that I want to talk about is the exotic mission, Fire and Ice, where you get the Praxic Blade and where you can go to get 3 of the 4 catalysts. To put it simply, Fire and Ice is a cool concept with cool mechanics, but it's a shit mission. I do not like it. I feel like there is too much jumping around and navigation, and then the final fight, if you're a solo, it's kind of impossible in a way. You can obviously do it, but it is very, very difficult because you are just getting blasted by the boss constantly. It gets a lot easier once you have the Praxic Blade, but that first time around is very annoying to deal with. My overall thoughts after a week into Renegades are that it is what Destiny needed. It's a fantastic story with great gameplay, but the big issue that I am seeing right now is that it is not a Destiny expansion, it is a episode. When you look at everything that we got with this expansion, it is essentially episode Heresy, at least content-wise. I feel like Heresy had a little bit more going on because the story was a lot more interesting, in my opinion, and I like the Hive themes and the Hive story. But overall, Renegades is just an episode with the name expansion. There's no new destination. There's only a handful of weapons that we would have seen in an episode-sized expansion or an episode-sized update. The new game mode is basically the Nether with more objectives. And a few cool abilities that you don't really have to interact with if you don't want to. Going forward into the future with this new monetization map where we have the 2 expansions, I don't think Bungie will be able to contain or continue doing this. I also don't think Bungie will start listening to us because it's been 5 years and they haven't listened to us before very much. So I don't see why they would start listening to us now. But going forward, I would like to see them return to the one big expansion a year and then have one medium-sized episode a year, similar to what Renegades and Heresy offer, because I feel like that would be the best way to monetize the game. Because unfortunately, Bungie don't seem to be evolving with the new live service platform. They've stayed the same the entire time. They've changed how expansions look and feel and the size of them, but you still have to pay for 90% of the game, even though it's free. The last bit that I cannot cover yet is the dungeon, because that doesn't come out for about 5 days, but I will be live on Twitch streaming that when it comes out. We are participating in the world's first race, so if you want to stop by and talk shit while I get shit on in the game, feel free. But as I said at the start of the video, leave a like and subscribe down below if you did enjoy the video, and let me know what you thought of Renegades and if I'm wrong. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.